It is Phil here, otherwise known as Dr. Clueless, and as the title suggests for today's live Q&A, we're going to talk about that baby acne. That's right. If you have a newborn and you're like, what is going on and what can I do about this? Stay tuned. We will be talking about this in just a bit. But before we get into content, if this is your first time, welcome to Dr. Clueless, where we discuss things that just make you clueless, feel clueless anyway, as it did me when we had our first daughter, who's now 2 years old. We had her a couple years ago, and it left me feeling clueless when it came to parenting. Despite all of my degrees, my medical training, I am a real doctor, y'all, board certified, and despite all of that education, it still had me feeling clueless. So I thought, hey, let's get together, a clueless community, and share tips and hacks, and hopefully get through life feeling a little less clueless together. So if you feel like this would be of interest to you, please, I'd highly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. Please subscribe. No, I'd really appreciate it if you just hit the subscribe button. No. Okay, so if you are interested in this content, please feel free to subscribe and hit that like button. Please share with anyone who you know might have a newborn. Let me start by just introducing. This is my 3-week-old daughter. Now, I said I began feeling clueless about 2 years ago, but then guess what? About almost 4 weeks ago, we had our second daughter. And let's get into the content because it actually has to do with my daughter. My daughter was born, and you know what? She was pretty pimply. I'm sorry, daughter, if you're watching this, if your future employers are watching this in a few years. No, but you just had a lot of acne going on, like on the face, and I think other parts of the body, if I'm not mistaken. And fortunately, it has largely resolved. I mean, if you want to just get a close up, she would have pimples on her face, and it was kind of just like we were just trying to see what her face was, right? Because it had the acne. And so, about this topic, so let's start with where does this come from? We think that it is linked to the mom's hormone. So before the baby even comes out, it's possibly in response to mom's hormones. And so, in terms of where you can find it on the baby's forehead, on the cheeks, and again, other parts of the body, including the back. And so just thinking about, like, what are the do's and don'ts real quick, right? One don't is to not use over-the-counter acne medication. That is something that is not necessarily formulated for humans that are this little, especially for kids. Quite, they might not have even tested it on kids at all, no less, a newborn. So definitely stay away from trying acne medications. Also, you want to avoid using really like greasy lotions because that might actually make it worse. Um, and in general, when we think about what can maybe contribute to making the acne more pronounced, it might be, spit up, when the child is getting more fussy, things of that nature. And so anything that you can think of that can avoid contact with the skin like that, that can also maybe be helpful. As far as do's, you can go ahead and just clean the face, with a towelette that you would use at bath time, and you can clean the face with a mild baby soap and water once a day. And you know what? You don't have to, aggressively, try to, please do not go aggressively, try to pop the pimples. I think all of the tips that I've said, the don'ts, you know, um, and maybe, especially the don'ts, have to do with patience. And that's the last do, is to go ahead and have patience when it comes to this, because it's something that, even maybe without much intervention, should resolve in a few weeks. And if it does last beyond, a month or a couple of months, a month, surely I would say reach out to your child's pediatrician and just ask if there's anything to be concerned about when it comes to having the pimples. So again, our experience was this, and we're just keeping it real. Even though being a doctor family, we did try some. It was like an ointment, and it was oily. I think it was because of just not having like a lot of patience with the process. I mean, she must have been like maybe in her second week of life, and we were like, man, we gotta get rid of these, these pimples. It's like weird. And so guess what? It actually seemed to have made it more irritated, and it seemed to be a little angrier and redder. So that ties in not using an oily lotion, and it also ties into being patient. That again, her skin is looking beautiful right now. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying, her skin is radiant, and it was a matter, I think, of just hanging in there, knowing that it would probably just resolve on its own. So if you have any questions, please go ahead. Feel free to ask, even if you're not on the live broadcast. Please leave your comments, and I would love to just dialogue, interact with you even after this live broadcast. Thank you so much for watching, and for more on this, I'm actually getting most of this information from BabyCenter, which is a great resource for whether you have a medical background or not. For parents, it's just an amazing resource for parents. So that is also my go-to place for information. So I hope that is helpful, and God bless with your little one, and hope to see you along your journey as well as my own. All right, take care. Have a great day. Bye bye. Little one is sleeping right now, so she's